All right, we're back, everyone. We're going to be getting into Job 27:28. So the book of Ayub, Job 27 to 28. All right, so let's see here. I think, let's see. We have a couple of Mishpaka here that has not read yet. Let's see here. I don't know if Brother Yahushua is able to. So, Brother Dennis, would you like to read Job 27? Brother Dennis, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was muted.
Oh, you were? Okay. I didn't see you muted. Okay. All right. So you think you'll be able to read Job 27 for us?
Job 27?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna make sure I mute us. It's gonna be hard to hear them.
Okay. Job 27. Ayub. Can you hear me okay? Doug?
Yes,
Can you hear me okay?
loud and clear.
Loud and clear, bro. You're good.
Okay, want to make sure. Let's see, the word of Yahweh came to me saying, Now, son of man, take up a lamentation for Zor. You shall say to Zor, you who dwell at the entrance
Oh, I think
of
you got the
sea."
wrong book, bro. We're in Job.
Oh, I
27.
am. I don't know how I did that.
It's okay, brother. It's all right. It's all good. Thank goodness I memorized Ezekiel so well.
Yeah. What it was, yeah. Oh, right. That's what I did.
Yeah, I'll give you some time, bro. I know it's gonna take a little bit to turn to, let's see here.
Okay. Okay, I'm here now. And I again took up his discourse and said, As Allah lives, who has turned aside my right ruling, and the Almighty, who has made my life bitter, as long as my breath is in me, and the Spirit of Allah in my nostrils, my lips do not speak unrighteousness, nor my tongue utter deceit. Far be it from me that I grant that you are right. Until I die, I would not turn aside my integrity from me. My righteousness I hold fast, and I do not let it go. My heart does not reproach me as long as I live. Let my enemy be like the wrongdoer, and he who rises up against me like the unrighteous. For what is the expectancy of the defiled one when he does cut off when Allah takes away my life, his life. When Allah hear his cry, when distress comes upon him, would he delight himself in the Almighty, call on Allah at all times? Let me teach you by the hand of Allah that which is with the Almighty I do not hide. See, all of you have seen it. Why then are you altogether vain? This is the portion of a wrong man with Allah and the inheritance of cruel ones, which they receive from the Almighty. If his children are increased, is it for the sword? And his offspring shall not have enough to eat. Those who remain of him are buried in death, and their widows do not weep. Though he heaps up silver like dust, and lays up garments like clay. He lays up, but the righteous puts it on, and the innocent divides the silver. He built his house like a moth, like a booth which is a watchman made. He lies down, a rich man, but he is not gathered. When he opens his eyes, it is no more. Alarms overtake him like a flood. The storm wind shall steal him away in the night. The east wind takes him away, and he is gone, for it sweeps him from his place, and it hurls itself against him and does not spare. He swiftly flees from its power. It claps its hands at him, and it hisses him out of his place.
Yeah. So interesting.
Are you on a phone call? No, it's still. Oh.
It's interesting. There's a. See
What is what for
here.
For Bentley?
Hold on a second. All right. Let's see here. So yeah, there's some interesting differences here. I had to like switch to like the restored name King James or something because for some reason the electronic version just it blurts out certain letters. Like when it goes to all, it has like the A boxed out for some stupid reason. I don't know why it did that. I'm trying to remember what verse that was. Let's see here. Yeah. Verse 2, as all lives who has turned aside my right ruling, and the Almighty who has made my life bitter. So it seems like, and let me just double check here with the Septuagint version. So all seems to be the equivalent to Theos, which would be Alua or Elohim. And then Almighty, I wonder if in the Greek it's Almighty. Let me see here. Yeah, Almighty, but can also be translated as omnipotent. Okay, ruler of all, holder of all things. And I think with the Hebrew, it shouldn't be Almighty. It should actually be Shaddai, if I'm not mistaken. Right here. Yeah, Shaddai. So what happens is a lot of these translators assume Shaddai means Almighty. I would respectfully disagree with them because the majority of the time Shaddai in the Targums is translated as sufficient one. So all Shaddai would be the sufficient or all sufficient Elohim is actually what it means. So yeah, there's a little difference there in verse 2. Not much of a difference. But you have Almighty or omnipotent versus Shaddai. Now, this is the weird thing that I noticed when Brother Dennis was reading. We have Alua here in Job 27:8, which again is a title. It's Aramaic form of Elohim. It can mean a deity or the deity, the true deity. It's very generic. It's very generic. H433, Alua. So now with the Septuagint, instead of Alua, it actually indicates that Yahuwah is supposed to be there. So as you can see here, all caps Lord, right here, G9, G2962, Kurios, which is basically Greek for Lord or Master, but in this context is talking about Yahuwah as all caps Lord. So this obviously here, Kurios, is indicating that Yahuwah is supposed to be there rather than in the Hebrew Alua. So I just found that interesting. There were certain differences like that, where the Masoretes are trying to take Yahuwah's name out of the verse. And I think it happens in verse 11 as well. Again, you have all caps Lord for Kurios. So right there, it's supposed to be Yahuwah there, verse 11. Vanity. This is the portion a man of impious. By the way, impious means like irreverent, a wicked person from Yahuwah. So again, we have Yahuwah here. So there's going to be a lot of differences where you're talking about honoring Yahuwah's name here. Again, they substituted with all, or in the vowel points L, which again is just a generic title for deity. So again, the problem I have with this, and many people might be saying, Doug, what's the big deal? Elohim is not evil. No, but Yahuwah in Exodus 20, I believe, right, says, do not bring his name to nothing. We are not to bring his name to destruction or nothing or useless by using a title. All or Elohim is a title. It just means mighty one or power. It's not his name. So we see multiple times here in the Masoretic version of Job, instead of Yahuwah, they have Elohim or Elohim. And even Al is a short form of Elohim. It just means deity. So, for example, for any Muslims out there, when you're saying Allah Akbar, really all you're saying is make great mighty one. That's essentially what you're saying. Allah is not a name. It's not a name. It just means deity. Like literally, if you were to trace back this word in the Hebrew here, it will go to Allah. This is the shortened form, Al, A-L. So basically just means mighty one or deity. That's all it means. Power, strong, doesn't really mean anything. So essentially, that's what you're reducing Yahuwah to when you call him that. Oh, just a mighty one. Oh, power, strength. Okay. So that's the problem with that. And the Jewish tradition of substituting the Tetragrammaton with Elohim is a widely known tradition. Like I said, I've shared it before, guys, but I'll share it again. Let me just put it on the screen from Encyclopedia Britannica real quick. Just show you guys what I'm talking about. This is an article on the name of the creator. Even though I don't agree with their pronunciation, the info is correct. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's go to this article here. So this article is for Yahuwah's name, even though they have the wrong spelling and pronunciation. That's what they're referring to in context. So it says here in the article, mind you, this is from encyclopediabritannica.com, a real legit secular source. It says, especially from the 3rd century BC on, so that's 300 BC, Judeans stopped using the name Yahuwah for 2 reasons. As Judaism became universal rather than merely a local religion, the more common Hebrew noun Elohim, plural in form, but understood in singular, meaning mighty one, tended to replace Yahuwah. So, mind you, this is a secular source. This is not my opinion. This is documented in an encyclopedia. So it seems like the Masoretes held to this rabbinical tradition of, especially when you look at the book of Job as a whole, in the Masoretic version versus Septuagint, way more times Alua or all is used instead of in Hebrew the H3068 Yahuwah. So just something to take note of. But this is what I believe happened, why the Masoretic version of Job has Yahuwah, the name Yahuwah mentions very little amount of times. So it seems like they were already implementing that rabbinical tradition, which again breaks Exodus 20. You guys could look that up for yourselves, but Exodus 20 literally says, do not bring my name to nothing or take my name in vain. And when you go into the context of it, in the Hebrew, vain means nothing, to make it not mean anything. So, like, for example, when Jewish people say Adonai, that's rendering his name nothing. You're just calling him Lord. When they say Elohim or mighty one, essentially that's what it means in English, mighty one. When they say Elohim by a name. So they're just calling him as a name, mighty one. So they're bringing his name to nothing. Okay, so anyway, that's the point I was trying to bring out there. So anyway, other than that, though, I think if there wasn't much differences other than the name thing, Alua versus Yahuwah and all that, there wasn't much of a difference I could really take from with Job 27. There really wasn't much else. Like I said, don't be fooled. In the Hebrew, it's not almighty, it's Shaddai, or sufficient one. So don't be fooled by that. Translators, they pick and choose when they want to translate stuff correctly. For some reason, that tradition has carried through all the way through almost every translation. They translate Shaddai as Almighty for no reason. So anyway, but other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. Ayub is pouring, his heart out again. He's talking about what happens to, those that forsake Yahuwah. So again, he's kind of questioning Yahuwah while he's going through this, but at the same time, he knows that the wicked don't prosper for long. It seems like he seems to understand here. So I'm trying to think what else. Oh, let's see here. Well, my breath is same thing. Okay. Same thing in verse 3. Okay. Okay, yeah. So that's pretty much the gist of what I got from Job 27 here. Not much else. He's obviously talking about I will not sin as the breath of Yahuwah is in me and all that. Destructions appointed for the wicked and all that. He's even talking about, can the wicked trust in Yahuwah and be saved? Very interesting. It's very interesting. In verse 8 there. So anyway, there's not much else I can really, that I can really expound on in that chapter. It's such a short chapter. So Mom, did you have anything? Nothing, right? So if no one else has anything to bring up, I think we could have a different reader and finish off today. Let's see here. Brother Yahusha, you think you would be able to read chapter 28?
Sure. Yeah.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see here. Oh, these are really not that long. It's a little longer.
So Job 28. For there is a place for the silver where it comes, and a place for the gold where it is refined. For iron comes out of the earth, and brass is hewn out like stone. He has set a bound to darkness, and he searches out every limit. A stone is darkness, and the shadow of death. There's a cutting off of the torrent. There's a cutting off the torrent by reason of dust, so that they forget the right way. So they that forget the right way are weakened. They are removed from among men. As for the earth, out of it shall become bread. Under it has been turned up as it were fire. Her stones are the place of the sapphire, and her dust supplies man with gold. There's a path the fowl has not known it, nor has the eye of the vulture seen it, nor have the sons of the proud trodden it. A lion has not passed upon it. He has stretched forth his hand on the sharp rock, and turned up mountains by the roots. And he has interrupted the whirlpools of rivers, and my eye has seen every precious thing. And he has laid bare the depths of the rivers, and has brought his power to light. But where has wisdom been discovered? And where is the place of understanding? Mortal has not known its way, nor indeed has it been discovered among men. The depths said, "It is not in me," and the sea said, "It is not with me." One shall not give fine gold instead of it, nor shall silver be weighed in exchange for it, nor shall it be compared with the gold of Ophir, the precious onyx and sapphire. Gold and crystal shall not be equal to it, nor shall vessels of gold be its exchange. Coral and fine pearl shall not be mentioned, but do you esteem wisdom above the most precious things? Things above need not be, I'm going to read a different translation. Things above need not be mentioned, but prize thou wisdom above all things below. The topaz of Ethiopia cannot equal it in value, nor is it to be rated by pure gold. But where can wisdom be found, and where is the place of understanding? It has escaped the knowledge of every man, and is hid from the birds of the air. Destruction and death said, "We heard the fame of it." Yahuwah is perfectly acquainted with its way, with his way, and knows his place, for he surveys the whole world and knows all on the earth. All that he has made, the weight of winds and the measures of water. When he had made and seen and numbered them, and also a way for the pealing thunder, then did he see it and declare it, and having prepared and traced it, he said to man, "Behold, the worshiping of Yahuwah is wisdom, and to abstain from evil is understanding." Interesting chapter.
Yeah, yeah. Little peek into wisdom here, and I don't believe. I know some bro would just say this is just talking about knowledge, but I think this chapter is talking about the person wisdom a little bit here. I kind of noticed a couple little things that seem to indicate it. Where is it? It talks about a mortal has not known its way. You know, same thing like in Psalms where it says all of us has fallen short, right? So who's its way? Who's the it? I would surmise that's Yahuwah, that's Yahusha's talking about its wisdom there. A mortal has not known its way, neither indeed has it been discovered among men. Then talks about the place of knowledge. And he has laid bare the depths of the rivers. So now it's talking about a he. And his power, brought his power to light. He has interrupted the whirlpools of rivers. He has stretched forth his hand on the sharp rock and turned up mountains by the roots. And this is obviously talking about Yahuwah here. Foul has not known. Stones are the place of the sapphire. Now, her, I don't believe should be her there. If I remember in the Greek, should be he. Or he or she's not even there. Actually, in the Greek, it should just say oh no, yeah, they're inserting her here. It's not there. So it should just say the place of stones, sapphire, and the embarkment of gold. See, this is what I mean, guys. You can't always trust the translators. They're putting her twice there where it's not supposed to be. Let me just see here. You have Kai or Kahi or G532. And stone is lithos. So Kahi means likewise. Also, even so, then, yeah, the her, there's no word for her in that chapter. Oh, no, my bad. It is there. Ego. G1473, me, I. So it's not necessarily a feminine noun. This is where it gets really tricky. I, me, for the other cases, plural. So again, you gotta be careful when it's talking about wisdom. These lovely translators love to insert her or she there where it's not supposed to be. Go ahead, Brother Yahusha.
If wisdom is Yahusha, and at the very end it's saying, behold, the worshiping of Yahuwah is wisdom, then you could say that it's impossible for anyone to worship Yahuwah without the Ruach of Yahusha dwelling in them. Or which would take you to he desires those who worship him in Ruach and in truth, in the Ruach of Yahusha, in his Ruach and in his truth, his word.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like how certain translations do that last verse. Okay, here we go. Said to man, behold, righteousness is wisdom, and to abstain from evil is understanding. Yeah. So that's why it's important to understand wisdom's not just a verb or a noun. How people would take this, it's a person. And the easiest way to show this is you go to the book of Proverbs, and you'll see that it's a person. Multiple places, actually. I think chapter 3 of Proverbs, chapter 8 of Proverbs. 8 is like just because we're almost done here, might as well go to it for people. Okay. And again, you got to understand, guys, just ignore when it has she there. We've done a study about this. These lovely translators got to add verbs or words that are not there. So just ignore it when it's talking about she. Usually if it's a she or he, 80-90% of the time, it's not even in the text, in the Greek or Hebrew text. They're adding it in there. For is on lofty eminences, it stands in the midst of the ways. Verse, he sits by the gates of the princes and sings in the entrances, saying, you, O men, I extort, utter my voice to the sons of men. You, O you, sing, understand subtly, and you that are untaught, imbibe knowledge. Hearken to me, for I will seek solemn truths and will produce right sayings from my lips. For my throat shall meditate truth. False lips are an abomination before me. And obviously we know that Yahuwah says that as well about himself, that a lying tongue is an abomination to him, right? So right there, that's a good verse to prove that Yahuwah is Yahusha right there, Proverbs 8:7. Okay. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There's nothing in them wrong or perverse. Okay, again, Yahusha. What was that prophecy? There will be no guile. There was no guile found in his mouth. So again, this is talking about Yahusha in Proverbs 8:8. They are all evident to those that understand, right to those that find knowledge. Receive instruction, not silver, knowledge rather than tried gold. For wisdom is better than precious stones. Mind you, this chapter from Proverbs is practically paralleling Job 28. Okay. No valuable substance is of equal worth with it, meaning, woo, no equal worth with it. Oh man, I'm going to use that. No one is equal to Yahusha. Essentially, that's what it's saying. No one's equal to Yahushua HaMashiach. That's what it's saying. I, wisdom, have dwelt with counsel, knowledge. I have called upon understanding. The fear of Yahuwah hates unrighteousness and insolence and pride and the ways of the wicked men. And I hate the perverse ways of bad men or wicked men. Counsel and safety are mine. Prudence is mine. Strength is mine. By me, kings reign. Wait a minute. So if Yahuwah is not wisdom, wouldn't this be a little bit, this sounds a little bit idolatric if he's not wisdom? Okay, by me, kings reign. Okay. So by wisdom, the person wisdom puts kings in place. By me, nobles become great, and monarchs by me rule over the earth. I love those that love me. Where have we heard that before? I love those that love me. Exodus 20, anyone? Wealth and esteem belong to me, yea, abundant possessions and righteousness. It is better to have my fruit than to have gold and precious stones, and my produce is better than choice silver. So again, he's talking about it as mine. Like this is a person talking. I walk in the ways of righteousness and am covenant with the paths of right ruling. Oh, my bad, conversant. That I may divide substance to them that love me and may fill their treasuries with two things. If I declare to you the things that daily happen, I will also to recount the things of old. Interesting, the Masoretic seems to leave that out. Kind of interesting. Yahuwah ordained me the beginning of his ways for his works. Genesis 1:1, John 1:1. By the word. He established me before time was in the beginning, before he made the earth, even before he made the depths, before the fountain of waters came forth, so before the oceans of the abyss, before the mountains were settled, before hills, all hills, he begets me. So I think it's very clear in verse 25 who this is that's talking. There's only one begotten according to the Brit Hadashah. And let's see if there's anything else to mention here. So when he prepared the heavens, verse 21, oh my bad, 27, I was present with him. The word was with Yahuwah, and the word was Yahuwah. When he prepared his throne upon the winds, when he strengthened the clouds above, when he secured the fountains of the earth, and when he strengthened the fountains of the earth, I was by him, suiting myself to him. I was that where he took delight. I daily rejoiced in his presence continually. Okay, so that's about it. So as you're reading like all the way down to verse 30 of Proverbs 8, it's clear that this is Yahusha talking. It's very clear. So obviously Yahusha's not a she, he's not a her. Okay, so obviously you got something going on with the translator. Go ahead, Brother Yahusha.
So it seems that there is an actual her in that place in verse 6. However, it doesn't seem to be referring to wisdom in this case. If you go to the ABP, when you go down to her gold, if you click on G1473, it says ego. But if you look at the actual word there, it looks more like something like, in English, it would look like Athens, but I know that's Greek. If you run it through a translator, it will say her. However, if you go to the verse like right before, it says, as for the earth, out of it shall come bread, under it has been turned up as it were fire. Her stones are the place of the sapphire, and her dust supplies man with gold. So it seems like it's talking about, it's referring to the earth as a her, not necessarily that the earth is a her, but probably parabolic language.
Yeah, which we're familiar with from like Revelations. Yeah, the earth is referred to as a she parabolically multiple times for whatever reason. I mean, you even have Christian hymnal writers, talking about let the earth receive her king. So I mean that's very familiar. That's very familiar to those that have grew up with the Bible and stuff like that. The earth is not a literal woman. It's allegorical language, parabolic language. Um, so I'm not surprised that that's what it's talking about. Yeah. Sometimes, a lot of the times though, when it's referring to wisdom with a her added in the verse, it's usually added.
Yeah, that's rare. There, that same word you won't find anywhere in Proverbs 8.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would agree with you. I think it has to do with the eretz itself and the fact that sapphire is found there. What's interesting is that sapphire is found in the earth, but it's also found in Yahuwah's throne. So that's another interesting thing, or under his throne. So that's another interesting thing too about the sapphire. But yeah, I believe that's what the tablets were originally made out of, sapphire stone. Um, Yeah, so definitely a good point to bring up, bro. So anyway, the reason I wanted to read that though was for people to have proof of what we were talking about, that wisdom is definitely Yahuwah, it's definitely Yahusha. Like I said, you can read in Proverbs 3 the same thing. Proverbs 3:19 says, by wisdom Yahuwah founded the earth. If wisdom is not Yahusha, then you have someone else being co-creator, which is a major issue. So if Yahusha is not wisdom, then there's a problem. So because then the only way to reconcile Proverbs 3:19 with John 1:1, Genesis 1:1, and all that is that the person wisdom is Yahusha himself, which I believe the early sages. I know it doesn't mean much because us men are fallible, but it's interesting to me to note the early sages who wrote the Targums actually understood what we're talking about. They actually, in one of the Targums, the Jerusalem one to be specific, it says in Genesis 1:1, in wisdom, Yahuwah created. So in Yahusha, Yahuwah created everything. So you see that in Colossians, Paul's writings. It's echoed throughout the whole scriptures. It's a current theme throughout the whole Bible, you could say. Go ahead, brother Yahusha.
Barry Nell said something one time that yes, wisdom is Yahusha, but if wisdom is Yahusha and Yahusha is not Yahuwah, then what does that mean for Yahuwah? Is Yahuwah like completely without wisdom? If wisdom is a different being,
Yeah.
Wisdom has to be Yahuwah as well. Otherwise, you have like this being, you have a mighty one that created all things, but does not have wisdom apart from another being.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Is Yahuwah void of knowledge? No. So obviously he has wisdom. So yeah, he possessed him. I forget which version does it in that verse 22, but instead of saying made me or created me, I think it's supposed to actually say possessed me, which actually makes a lot more sense. Like Yahuwah had him as part of him and made him the beginning of his ways for his works. I forget if it's in the Hebrew or the Greek that it shows up, but one of the versions of Proverbs, if you look at the actual Greek or Hebrew, possess would be, I would say, a better word than made me. Kind of gives off the wrong idea.
More than just that word itself, it's actually very interesting. That whole verse in and of itself, it seems to point to him planning it out. I forget, it's been a while since I've looked at it, but it seems to point to him planning out wisdom from the beginning, meaning the plan that he had from the beginning of creation to the ending of his creation, not the ending necessarily, but the eternity of his creation. That's what it seems to point to, the whole Basura message. And then it also points to the fact that if you look at that, it points to Yahusha being the olive and towel. I'll see if I can find what I was looking at.
Cool. Yeah, I just found the translation that Yahuwah was bringing to my remembrance. New Heart English Bible, YHWH edition, words it as, Yahuwah possessed me in the beginning of his work before his deeds of old. So I really like the way the New Heart English Bible words that word as possessed rather than made, because I know people will argue with me, oh, he was made. See, he had a beginning. No, that's not what it's saying. He didn't begin at some point. He always existed. And you see that with Micah 5:2, it says eternity. That means Yahusha had no beginning, just like the Father has no beginning. So, and I've gotten into debates with people about that, people that, claim to believe what we believe, but still want to think Yahusha has a beginning and all that. The problem with that is then it causes confusion. There's no proof in scripture that he was a created being. The two verses people always use is like the first, first begotten of all creation. They misunderstand that. And usually they use another one they'll use is, I think, Revelations 3, verse 14. Yeah. If you actually look at the Greek there, it's supposed to say archon, like it's supposed to be like the Greek word that's similar to archon or chief in authority. So even in the New Heart English Bible, I like how it words. It says, to the angel or messenger of the assembly in Laodicea write, the so be it, trustworthy and true witness, the head of Yahuwah's creation says these things. So what I do like about the New Heart English Bible is they try to fix translator issues with verses like that, where people try to say, oh, see, he's a created being. There's a whole big controversy with the Greek text because there's a word that means preeminent that has been mistranslated as firstborn and all that. So that's where that goes back to. And by the way, a second witness that's supposed to be translated like that, or even stronger for that, is the David Boucher's translation of the Aramaic Peshitta New Testament, which says, and to the messenger of the assembly of Laodiceans write, thus says the eternal, the trustworthy and true witness, and the source of the creation of Yahuwah. So again, the source. He's the source from all creation came from, meaning he's the creator. He's the eternal one. So that's what I would really recommend when going into studies like this and the oneness type of topic, that you test translations. And I really recommend looking at translations like the New Heart English Bible, YHWH edition, just because they try to be a little bit more honest with certain verses like that in Proverbs 8:22. They at least try to be honest with certain Hebrew and Greek words. I definitely agree with head of creation versus firstborn of creation. So, head like as an authority or archon in the Greek. So anyway, meaning like he's in charge of the whole creation. All of us are subjected to him. So
Cut off the head, and what happens?
yeah, without the head, everyone falls apart. Without the branch, without the tree, all the branches fall off. So, I really like the New Heart English Bible for certain verses like that. And they do try their best. Like I always recommend this Bible for people that are not into the Septuagint yet, because they do try to consult it in certain verses. Like they use it, Genesis 2:2, they use the Septuagint. In other places, I would have to look for Exodus 12 if they do. I think they do. But I know they use it in certain places, like when it gets really weird, like Deuteronomy 32, I think they might. 32 verse 8, I think they use the Septuagint as well. So yeah, I really recommend getting into a translation like that. Okay, no, they use the Masoretic in that verse. Never mind. but they do use it in certain verses. So I do recommend people look into this translation. It's very easy to find. The New Heart English Bible, Yahuwah edition or Tetragrammaton edition. It's very easy to find. It's in a lot of Bible apps out there. And they do try their best to look at different manuscripts. So I would recommend that or the International Standard Version, the ISV. They do that as well. And I know for a fact the ISV definitely consults with the Septuagint, is very honest with certain Hebrew words that a lot of translators are not, like the Hebrew word nakash or nakash. It's very honest with that word. So, but yeah, so those are two Bibles I would recommend that you guys can get for free. And I'll give you guys the links if you have a hard time finding them. Those are two Bibles that would be a nice introduction for you guys just to get your feet wet a little bit to actually using certain things from the Septuagint. So anyway, so I hope everyone got something from this today. I hope this was edifying for all of you out there. And to all of our other brothers and sisters out there, have a great rest of your Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. And Yahuwah willing, see you next time.